Hi there, I'm Etra from Games for Non-Gamers, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can edit or add custom level blocks and UI events in my non-gamer tutorial creator, and how you can help the community by adding these level chunks and events officially to the non-gamer tutorial creator. Now you may have noticed that I didn't mention how to make unique abilities or items, just how to make learning chunks for them. This is because I have a whole other video about how to add items or abilities to the Etra starter asset character base right here if you need to make a unique item or ability first. But assuming you already have an ability or item made, or you just want to edit or add on to some teaching blocks that are already in the tutorial creator, here's how you do it. In today's example, we're going to make a learning block for picking up and dropping physics objects on buttons. Since I quickly made this for an example, it doesn't have the best non-gamer learning design, but it will be good enough for this teaching tool. This tutorial will be broken up into 5 small sections. We're going to look at making, decorating, and scaling a level block correctly so it properly connects to others and has a proper spawn point. We'll look at setting up the scriptable object data so it dynamically connects to the tutorial creator wizard. We'll get a nice picture for our level chunk. Then we'll add in custom animated unlock and notification events for keyboard and controller. And finally, I'll show you how to connect to the Discord community to get your abilities and level chunks in the official tutorial creator so your hard work can help many other developers. So the first thing you should do is make a second scene for crafting your custom level blocks in. To do this, I'll just hop into my non-gamer tutorial, click save as, and I'll save it as chunk editor scene. Technically, you can do this anywhere, but we'll build in here for now. First thing I'm gonna do to make testing faster is go to the non-gamer tutorial manager and click skip menu and skip opening scene. Let's get rid of the non-gamer tutorial in this scene by going to window, Etra's tutorial creator, and it will delete the level and character that's already in here. So if we go to the tutorial creator right now, we can see that we have teaching blocks for a lot of things, but grab interact is grayed out because there's no teaching chunks for it. To fix this, we'll make a level chunk for learning grab interactions. To start, we'll go over to user assets, level chunks, prefabs, and press Ctrl D on the example level chunk here to make a duplicate of it. And I'll call this grab interact intro. You can open this up in editor, but I like to open this up in context by dragging in the grab interact thing here, setting it to 000, going back to the tutorial creator and just make a character where we'll say he already knows everything. Click create. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to here, go to the ability manager, and he has everything unlocked including the grab interact, but we don't really want that, so we're gonna go to the grab interact script in the ability manager and uncheck ability enabled. This is how the abilities are before you unlock them. So with that unchecked, I'm gonna scoot our new chunk back a bit here so we can actually mess around with it. And then I'll take player spawn and we'll also move it back here. That way we can test over here. And what I'm gonna do now is press this button to open the grab interact intro in context to see how it will look in the rest of the world. The first thing I wanna do is block this level chunk out. I can do this by duplicating the base Pro Builder chunk and stretching it properly using the Pro Builder window toolkit. I also have an add-on called Pro Grids, which is sometimes included in Pro Builder, but it's worth downloading this and learning the basics of Pro Builder since it is a very easy tool to use in your Unity projects. Next, I'll go to the interactables folders in the starter assets and non-gamer tutorial creator and add in interactable assets from doors, buttons, and this cube. I'll adjust the cube settings and the door connections. Two very important interactables to grab are first the checkpoints. These are in the starter asset interactables, but you can just duplicate the one that's in the template here. The second very important interactable to grab is in the non-gamer tutorial creator interactables, and it is the non-gamer tutorial pickup. In here is where you select what ability or item your character is unlocking. In this case, we want to do the grab interact. And right here where it says show tutorial animation, since it doesn't exist yet, I'm going to uncheck that for now. I'll stretch this hitbox around the cube here. And now we're at a point where we can actually test things. And here we can see that everything is functionally working. From here, I want to focus on making everything look half decent. To do that, we'll go to Swappable Materials and Textures under User Assets. If you want your level chunk to support multiple visual styles, it's important to make sure materials get their textures from the mini textures in the Swappable Textures pile. Don't worry, this will grow in a later update. But make sure your materials pull from those textures if you want your items to support different art styles. For this, I actually have 3 material biome sets and color palettes ready to be used in many ways, so I'll just use the magic material set to decorate this level chunk. With that done, I can also go to the decorations folder to add in some additional decor and particles. And with that, I'd say our level chunk is at least looking much better than before. Art definitely isn't my specialty, but hey, if any artist wants to hop in the Discord below and help me visually revamp a lot of the current level chunks, I'd love your help. With that done, the next thing we need to do is make sure this connects well with the other level chunks. So go to the level chunk prefab, and then on the root of it, it should have this level chunk object script. And you have this green point, which is actually exactly where you want it to be, like halfway off the edge. Which is the start of the object, and the red point, which isn't quite where we want it, so we'll move it over, I think 20.5. You also want to adjust the player spawn position, which is where player spawn will spawn in when this is the first level chunk in the list. Now that we've made the actual level chunk prefab, we need to make the scriptable object that holds all the additional data for this level chunk. To do that, we'll hop out of this prefab, go to user assets again, into level chunks, and instead of prefabs, we'll go to scriptable objects. Here, I'm gonna right click, create, and then up at the top, we'll have Etra, and then non-gamer tutorial level chunk. We'll call this grab intro, and we'll also change the chunk name to grab intro. We'll drag the photo in here later. Here we have quite a few settings for the chunk, and I'll talk through them one by one. Checking is required means that a user cannot delete this level chunk from the level creator. Use single means only one of these level chunks will appear in the creator. Is recommended automatically adds this into the level list if it is possible for this chunk to be added. For testing purposes, we definitely want to have that checked. Next is order priority. This determines where this level chunk will be in the automatic placement of level chunks. Here's a graphic on screen of each update 1 level chunk and their order priority. Since I want to fit the grab interact in between Look X and Blaster Test 1, I'll make its order priority 305. Teaching priority determines what block appears if several blocks all teach the same thing, and only certain ones can be possible under certain conditions. For example, movement introduction. I think a better version of that is if you have the blaster plus movement. But if you're doing a one where you have no blaster, like in third person, then you can't really load up that chunk because it'll be impossible. So a higher teaching priority means that will be preferred if it's possible, but the default teaching priority of 0 is fine if there's only one block attempting to teach this specific mechanic. Next, we select what abilities are taught or tested in this specific chunk. If an ability is taught in this chunk, it will appear if the user selects if they want to teach this ability. If an ability is tested, it will appear if the ability is taught or if the player already knows this ability. In this case, I'm going to select that this chunk teaches the grab interact. Finally, we want to drag in our prefab so it knows what object to load. With that all done, we can actually get rid of the prefab from here for now, And if I go to Window, Etra's Tutorial Creator, get rid of what we have here, and go to our list, we'll make sure to teach Grab Interact, and you'll see, ta-da, we've got our grab intro right there. It doesn't have an image, but we can put it right at the beginning. So that's almost perfect. The only problem here is we have a blank image, which is okay, but if we want to be fancy, we can turn on the screenshot camera, go to Game View, use the snipping or screenshot tool. Then we need to crop or edit that image down to 300 by 300, 300 by 448, or 300 by 596, and just drag it into our scriptable object. And now we've got our nice little image here. Our next step is to actually have nice animations play when the player picks up the ability. Each ability and item automatically has a holder for its unlock animation created for it over in the non-gamer tutorial UI. So if we go over here, ability and item animation data, we can find Grab Interact right here with no data on it. Here's the base for the Etra animation system, this Etra animation holder, and we have a lot to go over, but to start and make things simple, we'll do what our first step in general is, which is add in all the objects we want to animate with this animation. For this one, we want to go to the keyboard and controller rect transforms, get E, the arrow, text labels, and then the left face button and its labels for controller controls. We also want to hide these objects at the start of the game. And with just that, if I walk into the grab unlock ability, I'll actually have the UI for it pop up on keyboard and controller. Now to do a proper animation, I'm going to go to the grab intro, go to this hitbox, and click show tutorial animation. Gonna go back to the grab interact UI. I'll check separate keyboard and controller, and here is where the magic happens. For the keyboard animation, add a new event, and here you'll have the options of what object you want to move, along with a lot of default tween animations and just options here. Most of the time, you'll want to start with the basic UI grow and unlock. So I'm gonna click that here. And what this does is it takes your main UI element, teleports it to the basic grow position, and scales it up to a size you determine over the first second. It waits basic UI grow weight minus 2 seconds. So in this case, if I make it 5, that would be 3 seconds. And then in the last second, it moves over to the original position in the course of a second. Okay, so that was a lot. Let me actually show you here. For this one, I'll say have my E button go to 50, -50, and then grow to 1, 1, 1 scale, and I'll have grow weight be 5 seconds. This means if I run the game, the object will instantly unlock the grab ability, teleport to 50, -50, then grow to scale 1 over the course of the first second, wait 3 seconds, then move to its start position in the final second. This is a good starting base for most UI events you make or edit. But for this one specifically, I'm going to move the pickup text and child arrow above the E, and after waiting 1 second, I'll have both of them fade in. And after waiting 2 seconds, all 3 objects will move to their start positions. I'm going to do mostly the same with the controller animation by starting with the basic UI grow to start and also moving text that fades in as well. To speed up my process, I can start by just copy and pasting my animation for keyboard and editing that. The only alteration I'm going to make is that as the objects are moving to their start transforms, I'm going to fade in these background buttons if they're not already visible by using the fade in self and children if not visible option. So this is mostly good. We have our keyboard and controller pop up for the player to pick up the cube, but when we use E for physics in video games, we also use E to drop the item, and I don't have any prompt about that. I want to have a second hitbox animation event pop that up when the player gets near this button. Now the immediate problem is we already used the animation slot for the grab interactability intro, But there is a solution to this. If we go to Interactables, you'll find another hitbox simply called Animation Trigger. The way this one works is if you run into it, it will trigger the animation of any object you type into the name of object with animation holder slot. So for this, go to the non-gamer tutorial UI again, and you'll see an area for additional general events. I'm going to make a new empty object here called Drop Item Event. Here is where you should add an Etra animation holder script. What I want to have happen here is that the E slides back to the center of the screen, and the drop text fades in. To do this, I can actually copy and paste my grab interact variables and just edit a few things. I also need to make sure to put the drop text in my animated objects array. And by default, if an object is already on screen when the basic UI grow into start is called on it, it will simply slide to the location and scale you selected, not start from that position. So here I'll fade in the drop text with controller and keyboard. Now we'll go back to the animation trigger and say our object with the Etra animation holder is called Drop Item Event. Now with keyboard or mouse, if I walk up to the grab interact to unlock it, then I walk over here, I get the drop unlock animation. Now I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but to make sure the player doesn't get the drop animation first before they even pick up the cube, I attached a script on the cube that detects when it's picked up, and when it's picked up, it activates the hitbox of the second event. Which reminds me, you can run code in the Etra animation system by selecting Run Etra Animation Activated Script and dragging in a child class of the Etra Animation Activated Script to run the overwritten run script function. You can also manipulate game objects with these move and scale events, not just UI rect transforms. So you can use this animation system for simple animations and cutscenes of game objects if you want. You can also go to the Etra Animation Event, Etra Animation Event Property Drawer, and Etra Animation Holder classes to add new events in this drop-down system. But anyway, now our level chunk is complete. The final option, but very recommended step, is to join the Discord community down below and drop what you made in the showcase channel, and I'll work with you to have your learning blocks added to the official tutorial creator so they can help other developers and non-gamers. Also, as I've mentioned like 5 times now, if this tool has helped you in any way and you want to support the updates to this project, please check out the Games for Non-Gamers Patreon, because I need financial support at the moment to keep this project alive and free for all. Thanks for checking this project out, and I really hope we can make some sort of difference with this. Get some sort of normalization of non-gamer tutorials into games, because man, I just really want to share the games I make with my family, and I know I'm not alone in wanting that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.